making sure both players are ready, Sean.
There's the good luck, have fun, and good game on the left. Reign Kiwikaki on the right. Team Liquid's Huk. Both players, again, have a lot of history. I'm going to be expecting a ton of aggression from both of these players. But whose control will be better? Whose build will be better? I honestly think that Kiwikaki will have the better control, that Huk will have the better build order.
And here we have Liquid Huk spawning as the red Protoss at the 3 o'clock position. Cross map here on Shattered Temple. This is not MLG Shattered Temple, just the good old ladder version. We have Reign Kiwikaki spawning as the yellow Protoss at the 9 o'clock position.
And you know, Huk has said multiple times he has top 3 control in the world. And now, first of all, there's no way to rank control. There's no micro Olympics yet. But the funny thing about a statement like that is whether people think it's true or not, whenever he begins performing well, people always quote that statement and begin to believe that, yes, he will always be the player with the better control. But I have to say that Huk, with his Warcraft 3 experience and how brilliantly he always clicks exactly where he needs to, I have never seen consistently better control than Reign Kiwikaki. I honestly think that if a micro battle does begin, Kiwikaki will be able to take a tremendous advantage, which is one of the reasons I think he is so consistently solid in Protoss vs. Protoss.
Now, we see a little bit of a deviation here with the gateway coming out on 12 for Huk, and 13 there for Kiwikaki. A little bit later than his opponent. But it really won't change too much. Now, real quick, we did have the maps come in that were eliminated from these two players. Typhon Peaks and Metalopolis from Huk, and Kiwikaki taking out Tal'Darim and Shakuras. Kind of glad to see Tal'Darim go because, I mean, how many times can you see two Protosses four-gate each other, Sean?
Yeah, well, we could see it upwards of twice here.
That is a true story.
We do see that both players are now getting the chance to scout each other at approximately the same time. Kiwikaki sending his probe scout out earlier, and as a result getting his gateway out a little bit later, but essentially identical mixes in both bases. Kiwikaki, though, planting this back pylon, doesn't want to have all of his pylons in one position. There's the Cybernetics core going down for Huk. In terms of the very start of the openings, we generally will see players either go one gate straight into their tech with a lot of chrono boosting, and that first zealot out. Looks like that's what Huk is going to do, but Kiwikaki looks like he's going to be planting a second gateway up early. No, he's also going for that zealot. So both players are going to have an excellent idea of what the other is doing. Not a lot of good map coverage with just one gate of units.
Huk's probe finally gets a mineral after constant annoyation there on the minerals in the background. The Cybernetics core was also blocked for just a couple seconds, but Kiwikaki got it down. Regardless, he's going ahead and doing a ton of damage here. Getting one of the probes quite low on gas, Sean. He might actually lose this.
Oh my God! That is tremendous and embarrassing. I cannot, I mean, I say embarrassing not to try to be funny, but to point out that at this kind of gameplay level, having that happen can rattle you in a tournament environment. Also, the players beforehand saying that they're both feeling quite cold in this room right now, so that could have had an effect on it as well.
There is the robotic facility going down for Huk, which doesn't really surprise you too much, Sean.
He has been streaming a lot lately, and in many of his Protosses opting to get this very fast robotics facility. Generally, we would bring up the idea of, oh yes, this can be often a little bit surprising to many players, but honestly, I think that Kiwikaki is one of the most prepared players in tournaments. Huk will be getting some sentries up to reinforce, or if he has a good enough read that his opponent is not going for that big gateway pressure, he can oftentimes be playing a little bit more passively. Kiwikaki just poking at his front, trying to delay any of those four-gate forward pylons. But awesomely enough, we do not see any sort of forward four-gate from either player.
We do not see any tech just yet out of Kiwikaki as well. And here comes Huk with another tech structure of his own, a Twilight Council. We see an observer coming out from that robotics facility. Might just be using that to scout out his opponent, and that's going to be the only thing coming out of that structure. I would probably expect Blink to be coming down looking for that tech structure. Here's the robotics facility coming out at Kiwikaki right now.
Very funky build orders by both players. Huk will have enough to start that Blink, but you know he may just jump directly into the Zealot and Templar mixture. What will he be doing? Nope, there is the blink popping out right away. Just going to have a couple of zealots out in the field. Kiwikaki, on the other hand, has not yet done any of these extra tech structures, and in fact is starting to climb ahead in the probe count. So Kiwikaki looks like he may be setting himself up for a very strong one-base robotics facility focused tech.
Now, one of the things about PvP is the Observer is going to be started there for Kiwikaki, chrono boosted as well, is that you will never or rarely ever see a Protoss player take an expansion in this matchup.
Yes.
Unless the game just goes on for some absurd amount of time. The players will probably more than likely mine out their main before you see an expansion drop down, just because every unit in PvP is oh so precious, and 400 minerals being used for that Nexus could be 4 Zealots, could be 3 Stalkers, could be anything, but right now we see
Could be
Huk.
8 sentries, JP.
It could. Math is your major.
My
not
God,
mine.
it could be 8 probes.
Now you're just blowing my mind, Sean.
It could be 2 2/3 of a gateway. We just don't know. We also see that the Immortal now popping out.
Oh, no!
Kiwikaki making a fundamental error. But of course his micro is so good, it looks like he has the confidence to engage here, but he does lose that one Observer, and now we see the Immortal now popping up. Oh no, we see the blink. Going to be able to exploit all of those Zealots brilliantly, picking them off as though they're not even part of the battle. And this one Immortal desperate to get down to the low ground, but that Sentry isn't going to have any of it. He will even have enough energy to recharge and to get back up. And oh no, Kiwikaki picks off the Sentry. Can Kiwikaki get into a good position? No, Huk pins him against the wall and murders him. There's the blink up to the high ground, and Huk looks like he is going to have a fast blink victory.
Yeah, the Immortal is going to be focused down. That was just not what Kiwikaki wanted. Huk capitalizing on the fact that his forces were on the low ground. That force field literally single-handedly won the game there for Huk.
Huk celebrating with some delicious nectar. That's actually blood from his last round opponent's death. He just drinking some of his soul up so that way he can keep the momentum going into game number 2.
A very quick PvP. Generally, most PvPs are pretty quick. Huk taking game 1 over his opponent, Reign Kiwikaki. Can Kiwikaki come back in game 2 as we're going to be jumping into our second match, which will be Xel'Naga Caverns, which ironically is a map that in other tournaments you see almost every matchup. Here at the Blizzard Invitational, you rarely see it.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even really seen a lot of Xel'Naga Caverns in the recent MLG tournaments. And players are starting to realize that with such a difficult to defend first expansion, your natural is so wide open that in a lot of circumstances, you don't even want to mess with that, especially not in a lot of the Protoss matchups. Protoss versus Zerg, very hard to deal with. Taking 3rd and 4th bases for Zerg is very difficult on that map. We have these 2 PvPers, though, saying, well, you know what, since we're not going to expand ever, no matter what anyways,